Raising the Christ in the eyes. We Your love so great overcame my broken state. Your life is all I need. I'm broken free in Christ that lives in me. No death, no height can never separate. We serve a kingdom that can't be shaken, and nothing can be taken away from the sons and daughters of God. We are a warrior generation with the vision of Christ in our eyes. We our God, the great and mighty King. Our God, the great and mighty King. You alone, our God, the great and mighty King. Our God, great and mighty King. You alone, our God. Great and mighty you, our God. We serve a kingdom that can't be shaken, and nothing can be taken away from the sons and daughters of God. We are a warrior generation with the vision of Christ in our eyes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I trust everyone is doing well this evening. And welcome to this public meeting. At first, I must let me take this opportunity just to go through some of the house rules. I beg your pardon. So we're going to ask that while you are on Zoom, you remain muted until such a time that you are given an opportunity to speak. Yes, this is a public meeting where I'll be addressing the residents, but at the same time, it is also an opportunity for you residents to engage with myself as the ward councillor for the area. With that said, I would like to then say that the meeting is also being broadcast live on Facebook, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome every single person that is joining us live from Facebook. I'm making sure that I'm opening the Facebook channel as well, so that people are aware that we are live. I would like to say also hi to Natasha Rigby on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. And I would like to encourage that everyone on Facebook, please do feel free to post your comments and questions on the chat, on the comment section. Right. With that said, for people on Zoom, it is preferred that you, unless if you have a problem with speaking or being heard, it is preferred that you use a raise hand function raise your hand, and then you'll be given an opportunity to speak. If you can't speak, of course, you can use the chat um, as as an option. I see Puisani practicing there with the clapping hand function. There was a raised hand right next to the clapping hand function. I'm sure you'll get right during the course of the evening. That's if you would like to engage with us. So with that said, allow me to also introduce the meeting to you. The meeting is obviously the public meeting for this month. Every month we do have a public meeting, either through a virtual platform or in person, usually at Bracken Park Community Hall. So I want to encourage residents to also take part in these meetings as they are a tool that are used to communicate with the residents. And with that said, I see we've got a guest among us. Allow me to recognize the presence of my fellow councillor, Councillor Rudolf Herbst. You're welcome. He also is a councillor that works in the area and also assists the residents within the area. I think it's a great opportunity for, I think it's a great working environment that we have with fellow councillors from various sectors as well. We're going to, of course, allow people to enter. We wanted people to obviously try and enter 15 minutes before the time, but of course, not everybody is able to do so. But in between, don't be alarmed when I do allow people to enter the meeting. All right, as I was saying, the meeting is monthly. So in this month, I'm going to give a feedback on the work of the ward committee. I'm going to also give an update in terms of some of the service delivery issues that we have faced. And you're going to actually take part in a poll when we get to discussing the IDP. With the IDP item. And of course, I'm going to clarify with residents as to exactly how, in my case as a ward councillor, I use the communications and the operations systems within the ward. So without any further ado, I'm going to start with the ward committee feedback. In the past, well, not recent past, or in the recent past, rather, we've had 2 ward committee meetings. The first meeting was held on the 26th of July, 2022, as well as the second meeting was held last week, Tuesday, on the 16th of August, 2022. At these meetings, of course, we discuss various issues. I think I'm going to only touch on the main issues that we discussed as a ward committee. And the issue that we discussed mainly as a ward committee was, of course, the current waste removal crisis or incidents that we are going through at this stage. With that said, I must say one of the public members who was attending the ward committee meeting did commend the work or the updates that were given, especially from the MMC's office, MMC Andre du Plessis. I think even from my side, it's very commendable that MMC was able to take us into confidence as to what he's busy with. Now, residents, I must stress this. I do know that this is very frustrating for all of us. I think I have had a number of conversations with residents, and I've also outlined that as much as they are affected, I'm also affected as a councillor as well. because as a councillor, I'm also a resident of Ekurhuleni. So this affects every person in the city. There's irregular waste collection across the city. It's not just in Ward 38 or in Alberton, it's across the city. So, and then I know we try and give updates as soon as possible, as quick as possible. No, it's not always possible because we're dependent on the department to also give us that update. So I do try every morning to call as early as I can or within reason to find out what's happening with the waste collection and if the information given from the previous day is also given. I mean, it's still correct. So with that said, so I know sometimes it's frustrating not knowing exactly what you do, but it is advice from the department, but I wouldn't go, being very proactive in this. It is advised that, residents do keep taking bins out. But obviously, if you don't see your area mentioned a day before, that wouldn't help. So because chances are that they will not pick up they will not come and collect at your area, even though they do anticipate that at any given point in time, there could be an increase or the situation could improve. So that's the first thing that we discussed in detail at the ward committee. And the ward committee has also raised an issue in terms of we're going to be doing a drive of asking residents to get involved in the sanitary dignity packs, project that will be launched. I think I'm expecting either towards the end of September. We're still finalizing the details as to what. This is aimed at helping not just students within schools in Ward 38, but it's also aimed at students who could, be around Ward 38 and need the help. So we're going to be doing that, and we are going to let residents know exactly what's happening in that regard. We've also, obviously, we know like one of the biggest news that we've had until recently, and even now, I think it's still one of the biggest news that we're going through, is the issue of road infrastructure in Ward 38, especially the potholes. I have said at the beginning of this term that one of the targets that and not just my target as a ward councillor, but the targets that we've set ourselves as a ward committee is that we want to see that out of the streets that were identified, especially towards the end of the previous term, I think there's about 9 or 10 streets that needed resurfacing. So our target is that 80%, which is about 8 or 7 of those streets, be resurfaced by the end of the term. That is by the end of the 5 years, not necessarily this year. So I'm saying this, and how we do this is that I actively do as your councillor is lobby with departments to say we can't be one of the first that puts in a request for resurfacing or patching, because some streets may not need complete resurfacing, they might need to be patched here and there. So I am in consistent discussions with officials. And also, I think what has been happening recently is that, especially in the past 2 weeks where we've had a public meeting, is that we've actually identified that the department was still waiting for the tender for asphalt to be provided, and so that they can do proper patching of potholes. And that's, while I'm on that subject, let me also take this opportunity to express my gratitude towards the Bridge Tech, who recently have gone throughout Alberton, not just in Ward 38, throughout Alberton, assisting with the patching or with the filling of potholes in the area. It is much appreciated, and we thank them for also stepping up in that regard, while the department is also at this stage only doing minimal patching wherever there's issues, just to try and make the roads safer. So that is what's being done at this stage. So, but as we go along, we hope that it improves, that we have the equipment, and myself and other councillors, Councillor Heps is on the line as well. He can attest that we are actively as councillors imploring departments to really address the issues that we are experiencing in the area. All right. Lastly, on the subject of ward committee, I'm going to give. Wait, let me speak on the council, the ward committee, and then I'm going to give Councillor Rudolph Herbst a quick opportunity as well. So, in terms of the ward committee meetings minutes, I want to encourage residents to go to the Brackenhurst Library, where we leave the minutes there. They're not there for collection. You can peruse the minutes at the library, see all of the details that we are discussing as a ward committee and the work that the issues that we are driving from a ward committee point of view on a monthly basis. So this is our way of showing, being accessible, not just being accessible to you, but being transparent in the work that we do. Let me just take this opportunity to allow Councillor Herbst to quickly have a word at this juncture. Councillor Herbst.
Thank you, Councillor Maifala. Evening, residents, ward committee members. I just wanted to note to the residents, for those that are not aware, I'm serving on the transport oversight that now houses the roads and stormwater as well. Just for your guys' interest, it was probably nice for you to know that there's 9,100 kilometers of tarred road in Ekurhuleni, 1,000 kilometers of gravel road in Ekurhuleni. That's quite a feat of what Councillor Maifala has managed to do for you guys in the ward, of getting so many roads of yours resurfaced, seeing that a lot of the IDPs are giving preference to the gravel roads that still need to be done. So well done on that, Councillor Maifala. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Herbst. And we, as you mentioned, we've got ward committee members on the line as well. They are also welcome in this meeting. I'm not going to mention you by name at this stage because I see quite a number of you as well. Right. Now we move on to the second part of the meeting. I'm going to speak about the IDP. Now, let me quickly indicate what the IDP is. The IDP is obviously the integrated development plan of the area. So these are the things that that require major budget. We are now at the system in September. We usually review what is on our current IDP. So let me take this opportunity to just mention what we have on the current IDP, and we're gonna give you an opportunity to have an input as a resident in this regard. For residents who are joining us on Facebook, please, we are going to ask a question. We are going to ask a question, and then we're going to request that you use the comment section to give your input in this regard. So currently on the IDP, we've got the water sewer system upgrade for the area. This has been on this IDP for a number of years. In fact, even before I became a councillor in 2016, it was one of the top priorities. The reason why it's still there is obviously because that hasn't happened. However, the good news is that there are consultants who are already starting to do work in terms of the design work on a number of streets. I think they include Sycamore Street, Geranium Street, Galosi Street, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember all the streets off by heart at this stage, but in those key streets that were identified as problem areas. Right. And then we obviously want to also have ablution facilities at Kalkunti Park. You'll realize that Kalkunti Park recently was installed with brass stands and all these wonderful things. However, there was no ablution facilities or taps. So we obviously want to encourage community to use that park to its fullest, even having a braai there or whatever you would like to have. So we want that, obviously, I'm going to put a motivation based on this item that there be ablution facilities as well as that the park be converted into a regional park. What that means is that if you look at Jackson Dam, which is recognized as a regional park, is that it obviously has exactly what I'm referring to. So that's why I'll keep giving an update as to what's happening with that. And then requesting for street cameras, that's what we had, but obviously you will see, I'll talk about that just now. And then we request for the Youth Entrepreneurship Center. Yeah, so we also have that there. And then the reconstruction of Poppy Street. Those are the 5 items that we have there. As I've said, with the street cameras, you would have seen across, thanks to the private sector for assisting us with street cameras, not just around Ward 38, but neighboring wards as well as other wards. We're now having street cameras. Of course, that item will then be moved. Now, at this point, I want to then engage you, the residents. I'm going to launch a poll that speaks to the IDP needs and the your current main service delivery issues. So we're going to use a poll first, and then after we use this poll, I'm then going to take an opportunity for comments or questions from the residents. And then from Facebook, we might need to pay attention, because we're going to be speaking to you and we don't have this. But also on Facebook, please don't rush into doing the poll as well. We will be sending around a survey in the coming weeks, but we also want to launch this poll now. So if you can just take this moment, residents, to answer this poll. Councillor Herbs, I'm sure you can see the poll now. So you can literally just answer the poll. And this is where you actually do something, residents. There's only one person that has answered so far. So we'll give others some time to do that. There's 3 residents that have taken an opportunity. Just for the residents watching via Facebook, some of the issues that we've raised here is road resurfacing at Letaba Street, refurbishment of Brackenhurst Clinic, traffic calming measures, McBride Street, removal of the band building at Brackendown Steps, some of the issues that are being raised. So if you can comment and tell us which one of the mentioned issues you would like to see, you can mention in the comments. We'll be taking those comments, obviously, from Facebook and including them in the report that we're going to be collecting. And then, of course, we also have what is your main service delivery issue at the moment. It's waste removal, sewer, between the following: waste removal, sewer overflows or blockage, condition of parks or cemeteries, electricity outages. So those are the issues that we have. I'm just going to give there is, according to on the Zoom platform, we've got 17 participants, and I'm just going to give another minute or so for the other 6 participants, if they can, to also take part in the poll. But there's no interaction, there's no comments or anything on Facebook at this stage. Okay, just gonna give a few more seconds. Minute or so to the residents. There's 12 residents that have taken part. I'm just trying to allow as many residents as possible to give an input in this regard. Okay, that seems to be everyone. I think the other 5 I may be struggling a little bit with the choices. That's okay. It's a good 75% of the people on Zoom have taken part in the poll. But also residents, please know that we will be obviously giving the survey out. Let me just say, Dale, thank you very much for your comment. Waste management is a problem. Usually have been minimal lately from load shedding, apart from load shedding. Thank you very much, Dale, for that issue raised. Thank you very much for your participation. This is when I'm going to end the poll. And then we're going to then flood the results for those who are on Zoom at some point. Okay, now I'm going to share the results so that you can see that it's not me that has put things put the priorities by myself. So from this, roads resurfacing, 25% of people on the platform have said road resurfacing at Letaba Street, and then we've got 8% who said refurbishing of Brackenhurst Clinic, and then obviously no one for early childhood development, and then traffic calming measures at McBride Street has been one of the top priorities, and then removal of the Brent building at Brackendown Steps. So residents, obviously, the next step is for myself and the ward committee to go through these things and and see how we allocate. And also what we can then do is we'll obviously give a feedback to residents as to what we're doing. And then currently, as would be expected, waste removal, 42% of the residents on the platform are saying that the waste removal is an issue. Sewer blockages, which is also an issue at this stage, as well as the condition of the parks, there's 8%, and then there's 17% with what's this electricity outage. Okay, let me stop sharing. I'm going to give residents an opportunity at this stage, even ward committee members, to speak. So you can raise your hand and let me see who wants to say something. If you're on Facebook, please do just type in the comments. Anyone who wants to add on to any issue that they would like to raise at this stage. Okay, I've got Chanel. I only have Chanel at this stage. Chanel, you can unmute and then speak.
Hello, Malcolm. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Chanel. Chanel, can you hear me? I can hear you. I could hear you. You can go ahead. I see Chanel is speaking.
I have a question which is not related. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. My question is not related to any of the topics that we've discussed already. We have trees outside on the pavement, which is currently firstly obscuring traffic. We can't see oncoming cars, and it's cracking our boundary walls and moving into our swimming pool. Who can I take that up with? It's a big concern.
Okay, Chanel, on which street, may I ask? On which
Next street.
Which street? Next street, okay. All right. So usually you'll take that to Parks,
Nick,
but,
N-I-K,
MIK,
Nick
okay,
Street,
okay,
N-I,
okay,
yes.
got it. All right, next street, so,
just off Wall Street.
okay. Chanel, you welcome. If you may, I'm going to also do this. I'm going to just quickly in the chat box, you can refer that to Parks Department, but I'm just quickly
I have submitted queries via the app.
okay.
Psychiatrist wants to cut the trees, but the issue of the roots lifting our walls, at some stage these walls are going to collapse. You're more than welcome to come and have a look.
Yeah. Okay, so I've just included in the chat my email address. If you can also
Okay.
use that to give me all the details so that I can know when I refer to officials exactly what they need to resolve. And then, yeah, like you said, I can also come and have a look on the issue myself, see exactly what the issue is. But I do know, like, usually that is a very difficult thing for them to do, but I don't want to answer on a blanket approach because there are scenarios where they can assist with that. Rather, please just send me an email. I don't want to say something and overpromise or underpromise. Yeah.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
I'll send you an email, then we can maybe schedule appointment because the pavement itself is also lifting.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
We can do that. All
Okay,
right.
thank you, Martin.
No problem. Okay. Right. Those are the only questions or comments. Okay. Right. If I can also continue to the next point, just a quick one. I think we all see that, you know, there's communication through public meetings from my side as well. And I think from expectation point of view, I think my job and Councillor Hepp's job is to make sure that we communicate with yourselves as residents. We don't necessarily take away the work of officials, which is to actually deliver the actual services. That doesn't mean that we don't want to do the work that we are supposed to be doing. It just means that we are governed by laws, even ourselves as councillors. However, you would have noticed that most of you would have seen that I do have WhatsApp groups that I use daily. More especially now, I do use daily because I have to with the waste removal. And then I also use on Facebook. It's mainly to also post issues there, but I do encourage residents to contact me directly. The reason being is that I do prefer to be contacted directly. That way I get messages quicker. I don't always get messages on Facebook. It can even take me days sometimes to be on Facebook. So I just want to make this very clear. The reason for that is that also obviously we as councillors have obviously other committee members, community commitments and so forth. So in that regard, that's why you'll find that we have the Facebook not necessarily being the most efficient, if I can just say that. And then I see that I'm just struggling a little bit here, so I'm gonna switch off my video for a second. So, and then in terms of operations, I think councillors, like I have said, available where I'm available. I think the focus for me is to make sure that we've got IDP items that attended to. I'm saying this because usually we have IDP items that sit for years. So my target is that at the end of the 5 years, we're starting with these 5 items, or the 5 items that we started with. There must, if there's anything left, there must at least be 1 left, or at most 2 left. That way, and when I say we remove them for the IDP, meaning that from the IDP they would have been done. So not removing them for the sake of being removed. So yeah, that is from my side. And yeah, is there any other comments, questions? Okay, yes, I'm coming to the announcement. I'm coming to the announcement. It's Michael. Michael sent me a private message. I do know I'm coming to the announcement, but so I was just making sure that there's no other comments. Right. Okay. With that said, I would like to also just make an announcement to the residents that this coming weekend there is a launch at Brackenhurst Police Station, Brackenhurst SEPS, together with other parties such as the EMPD, AfriForum, CPF, and all of that. It's called Community in Blue Launch, Blue Launch. So please, you're welcome to come and join. I'm going to be there on Saturday from 9 o'clock. So you're welcome to join us at 9 o'clock at Brackenhurst Police Station, where we're going to be joining. It's going to be a nice family day, as it promises. I hope the weather also plays along. It's a bit warmer. It's been quite windy recently. And then secondly, as Michael pointed out, how you can help the library on the 24th of this month on National Heritage Day. What we're going to be doing at the Brackenhurst Library is that we're going to be going to Brackenhurst Library to paint. So we obviously need you to come and obviously need you to come and paint with me. I'm not saying that you must go and paint. I'm also going to be going to the library to paint myself. So I need you to come. Let's go paint, do some painting there, and we're also going to have to spend some time, with the braai. So we're going to arrange that there's also a braai there at the library, so that we, after the hard work or during the hard work, depending on how you want to do it, that we also have some braai together as a community. And what is needed from you is, I would like to encourage that anyone that knows where we can find paint, anyone that knows where we can find, equipment to paint, and even anything else that we might need for painting. Just to give you an example, we also need, obviously, equipment, as I've said, like things to clean the paint brushes as well, or rollers as well, so that as a community, we can all, that I've actually set this day aside so that we can do that as a community. There might be other days, depending on how much we can do. But I do know that if as many people as come through and as many equipment that we can come through, we can have, then we will be able to cover as much as possible. Also, while I'm speaking on that note, please also, as per the chat, the email address there, please do email me if you know how you can assist, or do send me a WhatsApp if you know how you can assist.
Our family received this award, and we're proud to say that she received an international award. Although she may not have received many accolades.
Sorry. I saw Lawrence was unmuted there for a second. I thought somebody was saying something. But
The
it's,
mother received a minimum
Lawrence,
national
please
award
mute.
because of
Sorry, Malcolm, I didn't mean to talk. I think it's just a finger that has.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. There's nothing else. Let me just quickly see on Facebook if we are missing something. Okay. Right. There's nothing else on Facebook. So it has been relatively quiet today, but thank you very much for all who made the time to be at the meeting. We are finishing much earlier than we would have liked. We planned. So have a good evening. Thank you very much. Okay, wait, I see a raised hand. Give me a second. Did somebody raise their hand? Rudolph, oh, sorry, Rudolph.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Maifola. I think it was Jackie, the resident, commented on the tree cutting that she needed done. I remember there was recently, and I actually looked at the mail while you were discussing the other issues, from the CRM office in Alberton, noting to residents, or noting to us as councillors and then different HODs, the progress plan. And Bracken Downs and Brackenhurst has been listed on the IMS system. If she can maybe just note her request to get a tree done as well. Obviously, it won't be done with this batch that's being rolled out now. But on the IMS system, Parks Department will then book her problem as well. Obviously, with photos and things that will help as well. And she'll get the reference number like we handle other problems as well. But Bracken Downs has unfortunately been booked for weeks 2 and 3, which is 22nd of August to 2nd of September now. Bracken Downs and Brackenhurst, and on the 5th to the 9th of September would be Randart, Raceview, and New Redruth. But they will still attend to fallen trees, just if that might assist Jackie in any way for her to get a tree actually added to the IMS system, so that the Parks Department in Alberton, specifically her ward as well, knows that at that address there is a problem tree that is busy causing damage not only to the pavement but also to a boundary wall. Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah. All right, I see, Angus, that's why I wanted people to raise their hands and we can. Angus, you are raising an issue around the power outages in Brackenhurst Extension 2. I think I know the recent power outage was rather lengthy, and you know it was rather a long one. I think at this stage, Brackenhurst Extension 2, I have found out it's not one of the hotspot areas in terms of power outages. What I mean is that Councillor Herbs would know, because he works in the entire Alberton, would know that there's other areas that are receiving more power outages more frequently. So recently we haven't had, not to say that I know recently we've had one power outage in Brackenhurst Extension 2, but we haven't had that. And I think if I can just mention that in this financial year and going forward, the reason why I said it's not a red, it's a hotspot as compared to other areas, is because in this financial year, there will be a focus on completing this substation in Arrow Road. That's one of the areas that are mostly affected of late in terms of upgrading that substation. There has been, from the budget, more funds allocated to electricity infrastructure. So in terms of extension, we might not see it being one of the first that benefit from that budget. But as years go on, I'm sure we will see the upgrade, because obviously there's a commitment from the executive side to upgrade the electricity infrastructure in the city. So the reason why I had to start with saying that it's not a hotspot area, because I wanted to give you also an indication that, you know, there are other areas which are basically more worse off, if call it like that. Not to say that extension to Brackenhurst is not important. It is also important. However, we also look at other areas which are much more affected in that regard. Thank you very much. Rudolph? Rudolph?
Thank you, Councillor. If I can just add for the residents, the committee members, attention just to add to what you said now regarding the upgrading of our systems. I can't recall exactly. I'll have to check with and refer back to it and just get it to you as well. I think it was in our March council meeting where it was noted that the biggest problem areas currently in the whole of Ekurhuleni Metro would be then Kempton Park, and as you alluded to now, would be then Alberton, specifically more the older parts of Alberton, being Alberton North, Florentia, those areas. Yes, fortunately, Brackenhurst is not as hard hit as other parts of Alberton, where they have like constant power failures. But yes, Alberton is due as after Kempton Park to receive attention as far as the majority of this financial year's expenditure on the upgrading of the system is concerned. Thank you, Councillor.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks, Councillor Ebbs. All right. Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else, thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely evening further.